okay, this market has sold off. We're going into a seasonally strong part of the year. Earnings expectations are pretty low, and any surprises there could really run the market. So there's a lot of bullishness there. But again, it kind of rides on that CPI number that we're expecting tomorrow. On the flip side, if that inflationary number comes in hot following jobs growth that was really strong, I think you're setting yourself up for a very quick drop on the S&P 500. So tomorrow's CPI number, I would say, is really key for indices. Gold, same thing. You could pretty much mirror what I said there, minus some of the earnings reports and stuff there. But seasonally, I think also you don't have the same headwinds. I really or tailwinds. I think really the indices are close on my watch list.
Well, just to look at the US dollar as a general currency on its own, if you look at a lot of these day charts are on the brink of, potentially a daily structure break. Some have even broken. So Euro US dollar, if you look at the weekly chart, most of us have, pinpointed this as a nice support level on the weekly chart. And then if we drop down to the day chart, it's on the brink of potentially, a daily break. So, this is one idea of US dollar. If we see a break here, I'll be all over buying this basically, guys. But I need to see a break of that daily structure. And this is not the only one, guys. Pound US dollar is very similar. We're at a last daily high. It'll be really interesting to see what price on US dollar does at all these levels. If it breaks, I'm buying it, and if we get a bearish reaction here, then potentially we could sell it. So, but one interestingly, US dollar Swiss franc, this was potentially a trade we were looking at today to sell it, because this is one US dollar pair that has broken down. We're seeing a sort of double top and a break of these lows with this candle here. And I think we've got some room back down to this support level. So just US dollar majors in general are at really interesting levels. And like you say, with PPI coming up, it'll be interesting to see, if we do get that break of daily structure or not.
Do you want to be trading with the best broker? Then you need to be trading with Eightcap. Eightcap is an award-winning, regulated broker, and for a limited time, Eightcap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up and fund a new trading account with them. All you have to do is sign up for a new trading account with Eightcap and deposit into your trading account. If you already have a broker, you might want to consider switching to Eightcap for their low trading cost, a wide range of trading assets, and amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, simply use the link in the description to send our team a message for more information right now. You can get access to our amazing market scanning software, the EDGEFINDER, as well as our VIP Discord featuring trading signals from our expert traders, a trading chat room with ideas, webinars, market analysis, and more. Check out the links down below in the description for more information.
Sure. Yeah, and of course, likely what would cause a continued push to the downside in the dollar Swiss would be cooling inflationary numbers, which is kind of what is semi-expected going into this week. I'll come to Frank now. In terms of CPI and producer price index, both really key inflationary numbers, how are you prepping for this upcoming report? Do you have any trades on? Give us just your rundown, Frank.
Right, so I still have my S&P open from last week. That was based off of NFP expectations.
And by the way, that's a huge trade, Frank. You should be proud you caught that, because that was a really nice bounce. So you're long S&P 500 as it continues to find a bottom.
Yeah, that was a fortunate buy, and I think just this week's expectations of lower CPI month over month and producer prices cooling, that's also fueling, I guess, this sort of uptrend we have right now. But I also wanted to point out this chart here where we see stubborn inflation on month over month in the past couple months, and then last report was much higher than we had before. So it doesn't necessarily suggest that inflation is cooling. I know we saw cooler wages, but based off this chart, it looks like, inflation is going higher, and expectations are the same as last month at 0.6%. But, we have to be prepared for both scenarios. Like, what if we see it higher than 0.6? If it's lower than that, then that's good. It just shows signs of cooling and good for indices, gold. But, I think going into the week or into this news, that having a bullish bias on the indices was pretty good. It ended up working out, but it can always, the report can come in and suggest something else. Core for both of these are the same. They're usually unchanged or higher than expected. So it's hard to tell on the inflation side. We'll just have to see tomorrow and Thursday. But I have a couple things I'm looking at. One of them being GU. I think if you want to look at this both ways, you either take a short now and see if you can ride it back to the lows, or you wait on that structure break that Tom was talking about and see it come up to this trend line. It doesn't look like there's much upside yet, and until we establish a higher high, I would be more confident in going long, especially because I think I can't tell if I'm just ready for the dollar to be weaker or if I'm just speculating. But I want to see the indices come back up, and with that, you'll see GU and EU, AU all start to rise, and hopefully gold too, because that's been beaten down for a couple months. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Frank, in terms of, I'm totally, I'm not even trying to hide it. I would love a weaker dollar, because a weaker dollar would finally give us some relief on things like gold and indices, which are some of my favorite trades. We've seen the yields world continue to be red hot overall, and that has been kind of a persistent pressure on the dollar. Tom, in terms of coming into the CPI number, which markets would you say you're most interested in watching going into the report? And is there anything that you're watching for specifically that would kind of trigger a trade for you? Like, for example, for me, when it comes to the indices, if we get a rock star inflationary number, I will, meaning cooler than expected, and finally get some dollar relief, I'll probably be looking to start finding some indices trades. That would be like kind of my game plan, I guess, going into one of CPI's numbers. If it stays hot, I'll continue to play the dollar yet on the long side. But that's kind of my general game plan. What do you think, Tom? What's most pressing based on possible volatility we get tomorrow?
Yeah, well, again, not to go back to the same thing, but the US dollar pairs, if they start breaking these levels, like yourself, it's if you just look at how bearish that dollar's been, how strong the dollar's been, it's due some weakness, and like Frank said, I don't know if I want weakness or the market's just due some weakness, but if these daily levels break, then these US dollar pairs, I will be, buying euro US dollar, pound US dollar. So I'll be keeping a keen eye on them. Indices, not so much, but what is interesting are the yen pairs, and answers on a postcard how to trade these at the moment, because if you look at the weekly chart, we've had a massive swing lower and just a massive push up, and is this yen weakness to continue and indices start to push up, or on the day chart I'm seeing clear selling zones. This daily chart, we broke down this level, we're back at these highs, this is potentially a good selling level. So with the yen pairs, this CPI data might push these one way or the other. Yeah, because we've got daily selling pressure. We're in a daily downtrend, and we've got this weekly, buying pressure. So, these yen pairs have become untradeable for me. So I would like, the data. Sometimes we need the news to push some of these charts out of the funk they're in. If I get a daily downtrend with a weekly uptrend, it becomes untradeable for me. So I want, yen pairs to pick a direction. So I'll be keeping an eye on those as well. And the thing with indices, that a lot of them are just between a rock and a hard place. I mean, let's look at any of them. Let's look at the Dow Jones. So, we're at really nice weekly levels. And as you mentioned, this could be the low, and that seasonality that you spoke about. This could be the start of a rise in indices. But again, I just can't trade them because, first of all, we're in a weekly downtrend, although we are hitting good support levels. And also, if we look at the day chart, this is potentially a very good selling zone right now. Yeah, we've got this area of support here. We've got the moving average 20 coming down. If you just looked at the day chart, this could be a really good selling level. But then if you look at the weekly chart, it's a really good buying level. And I'm just seeing this across so many different, indices, currencies, commodities, where you've got these daily downtrends, like this, that are hitting weekly support. So I don't want to sell them, I don't want to buy them. Or you're getting these daily uptrends that are hitting weekly resistance. And again, I don't want to buy them or sell them. The markets are at really difficult, levels. And I think we need this news to sort of, choose the direction for a lot of these pairs that I've been looking at and indices.
Yeah, no, I think, Tom, that was really well said, because I've got a chart pulled up here on my end. The S&P 500 very much mirrors what you were reflecting. And you can see we are coming up to what I like to call kind of like a decision zone. We had this huge level of support, right? Price was super bullish. Price came down to this area and was able to break through it. Sellers were strong. And now, yes, we have rounded out what seems to have found a bottom. But now we have this big question mark. You have the S&P 500 sitting at what is definitely a level of resistance, that 4350 mark. Price has been oscillating around there for like 8 hours now, 12 hours now, just kind of bouncing around at this 4350 level. And it beckons the question, is the market just waiting to see what that number has in store for us? And that's why I mentioned, it's somewhat binary for me when it comes to us preparing for CPI numbers. If we get a headline number that shows cooling in the inflationary department, I'm looking to be an S&P 500 bull, very simply because it's like, okay, this market has sold off. We're going into a seasonally strong part of the year. Earnings expectations are pretty low, and any surprises there could really run the market. So there's a lot of bullishness there. But again, it kind of rides on that CPI number that we're expecting tomorrow. On the flip side, if that inflationary number comes in hot following jobs growth that was really strong, I think you're setting yourself up for a very quick drop on the S&P 500. So tomorrow's CPI number, I would say, is really key for indices. Gold, same thing. You could pretty much mirror what I said there, minus some of the earnings reports and stuff there. But seasonally, I think also you don't have the same headwinds. I really, or tailwinds. I think really the indices are close on my watch list. And Frank, I want to come to you on the S&P 500. Would you say you're kind of in the same boat? I know I looked at the EDGEFINDER's scoring on the indices specifically, and I was asking myself, what would get us to flip bullish? And you can see where the dead weight on the score right now, it's that inflationary number. So if we were to get a rock star number out of inflationary numbers, or out of CPI and PPI, likely the EDGEFINDER could actually flip bullish on a very quick turn, because again, inflationary numbers coming out cool could offer some support there, and probably that jump in price would likely cause retail traders to get more short biased. So possibly some strength there.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EDGEFINDER, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.